I'm real happy with it. Yeah, I'm proud of the words. I'm real proud of them. I worked hard on them.
But lyrically, I mean, it's a little bit different approach than your earlier work, would you say? I mean, it's a little bit more inside.
It's probably warmer and a little more inside. I felt like I could do that right now. I felt like I had to, because otherwise I thought I didn't want to turn into a cartoon, you know, some guy like, hey, I'm a big rock star, I'm so tough, and you know, and it was like, you know.
Okay, you're pretty happy with that then. You're, as far as music in general is concerned, I mean, it's changed quite a bit since you started. I mean, do you like these changes, the route that it's taken as far as modern music today? I'm
not a good person, Greg, to ask about modern music today. To me, it's something I do. I do it personally. It's almost like a religion to me. I feel really close to it as far as something that I do personally. I'm not a sort of a wizard at figuring out the industry, and I don't listen to all of it. I listen to what I like, and the rest of it, I kind of wink and try to ignore it because I think it's rubbish, you know, most of it. To be honest, you know.
Well, a lot of people use you as like when we're doing an interview or something, you always pop up as their influence. Who were, you know?
Who were some of mine?
Yeah, who were
Jim Morrison, Mick Jagger. Morrison for the baritone vocal and for his sense of drama. Mick Jagger gave me hope because he's the first person I heard who was doing well as a lead singer who couldn't sing much more than I could. So I thought, well, if he could do it, so can I. And just because his energy, he was neat and petite. And Keith Richards for using a guitar like an author. For using it like as if he was writing a story rather than as a virtuoso. Van Morrison, especially in his early work for the poetry of the things, especially Them, where he'd have these totally very, very, very conceptual poetic lyrics and bringing that into rock and roll, which made me think, boy, maybe I could make this a life's work. Because you know, when you're 18 and you're thinking, well, gee, I don't really want to do these jobs that don't make me feel good, and here's this thing that makes me feel good. But on the other hand, everybody's telling me if you go into that, you're not going to make any money, and you're going to end up 40 and a pill addict, and you know, an old hillbilly that nobody wants, hanging out in a roadhouse and everything, which was the stigma of rock and roll. When I graduated high school, the Beatles had just surfaced. They were still a novelty to America. There weren't millionaire rock stars then, really. You know, Liberace was more the idea of a millionaire entertainer, but rock and roll was sort of a dirty business. So it was chancy to get involved.
This is the first album in, I think, 3 years. It's been 3 years since your last album.
Yeah.
Took some time off there. What was Iggy Pop doing that little time off?
I've been living like, I guess I could say like Joe Public, like everybody else. I wanted to, I'd felt that I was turning into someone who had really no life and no connection to the world around me except through my stage work, and it was getting very unhealthy. And I felt that I didn't have much to say to the world, or vice versa. So I wanted to stop, and it was very hard transition, but I wanted to learn to live soberly, to do my work soberly, to do things like stand in line to get a driver's license and go through the hassle of getting the credit checked out so you can get a lease for a decent apartment, and all the sorts of things everybody hassles with. I shop for my own dinner, you know, not now when I'm on the road, but that's what I've been doing. So really just living with one girl instead of a different one every night, that kind of thing. And that's probably why the lyrics have changed, is because I'm writing from a different perspective now. So because I've matured a lot, is what's happened basically. So
you like that? I mean,
yeah, I'm very proud.
It's a good thing to have.
It was a great thing. Yeah, it's been real good.
Okay, some movie stuff going on here. Sid and Nancy.
A little bit.
A little bit. Color of Money. I mean,
yeah.
Is that an area you want to pursue a little bit stronger? Maybe when the tour's over and.
I'd like to. Probably it'll take a couple years before I dabble in that anymore. I got involved in it at first because I thought it would be a good a good way just to sort of sharpen myself up. I knew that if I was on call for movie parts and theater as well in New York where I live, the agent might call me up any time, and I had to be ready. So, and there are a lot of people in those fields who have a lot to offer as far as stagecraft. You learn a lot about things that relate to what I do in music. So it was, but music's still the thing that when I go to bed at night, especially for the last few years, and that's the thing that I lay in the dark and think, damn, I want to do it really well, and that's what I want to. You know, that's still my vendetta, my prized thing was, boy, I want to try to make a really good record, and I want to communicate to people at large, whether they're particularly typecast as the sort of people who listen to me or not. That's what I was trying to do with this album. Just talk to anybody that might want to listen.
Well, from what I understand, the album's doing pretty well. I mean, it's a new audience as well as the old audience.
It has been, yeah. It has been. There've been a lot of people that I think never had known my work before. So I'm very happy.
How did you meet up with Steve Jones and him helping out on the album?
I met him after the Sex Pistols had disbanded, and I did a little bit of work with him on Repo Man, on the soundtrack. And I found someone who had a lot more to offer musically than what he had been able to put into that band. I found that he had a very lyrical side to his playing, and he's just a really nice bloke who'd been through a lot, as I had, and also he was someone who wanted to work straight, which was really important to me. And so we became friendly and did some writing.
This is something I'm sure you get asked a lot, but going back farther than that, when you and David Bowie met him, how did it come about?
I met him in a bar in 1970 in New York City, and we found we had some things in common. It took quite a few years before we became really friendly, as it often does with musicians, because everybody's kind of busy and a little bit. Takes a while with musicians, you know. There are elements of rivalry.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yes.
Did you ask him to help out on the album, or did he just?
No, this was his. It was his idea. I was playing him some demo tapes, and he just immediately said, "That sounds very good. I'd like to get involved in this." And I thought about that, and I decided, okay. I'm glad I did. He was great to work with on this. He put his heart and soul into this album. He really worked hard.
Are your live performances any different than back in the old days? And as far as a lot of that could tie into, you're in great shape.
Thank you.
Do you work out? I mean, like other artists, I mean, a lot of them are starting just now to get into that, to the workout thing. And
I don't lift weights because I'm dubious of whether that's really beneficial or not. I was doing things before I made the album, because I knew that there'd be a tour after. I was doing things like in Switzerland, where I was finishing the writing with David. I would get up about 7 in the morning before we go skiing, and I'd just run up hills with mountainsides in the cold, just muttering, "Champion, champion, you're a champion," to myself. Really hokey stuff like that. But I you know, you have to have something to give yourself a goal, and I'd try to run a little farther up the mountain every day. I do that kind of thing. I do stretching. That's the only real exercise I do. I do a lot of stretching every day. Like I think his name's Bob Anderson, the guy who trains a lot of the NFL teams. That's according to his program. That's all I do. Other than that, I do the shows. I try to stay under 5 cigarettes a day, and that's about it.
Is there anything out there right now that you've heard on the radio, or anything that's like, you maybe driving along and go, hey, what is that? There's some music. I mean, somebody that's really catching you going, hey, they're doing something.
I think the Smiths, a band from England, Morrissey and Johnny Marr are the leaders of it. I think they're excellent. I don't know if it's the sort of music, I'm not sure a lot of Americans are going to go for it, but I think some will. It depends on your ear. It's not blues-derived music, so some people may not like it. I think The Cure is very good. I think Big Audio Dynamite are good. I like Sonic Youth. I even like the Swans. I like a lot of the Feelies are interesting. I like a lot of the young, you know, Replacements are great, Husker Du, and I dig all that stuff. Trying to think of anything in LA. LA's usually, I don't particularly love LA bands. I like New York bands more, personally.
Lastly, if you weren't writing and performing, what do you think you'd be doing?
I suppose I might have gone into politics. Picture that.
It would work.
I think I've got to get ready for this now. Was that good?
Oh yeah, that was excellent.